Meteor Impact.
Well, thank you very much for watching, and thank you for Nacho for the last talking. Well, contributing to Meteor.js and how we can use the open source for our career growth. The idea here is, well, explain how and why you should to contribute with OS projects and how you can use it for your career, and how it impact directly in your career and your jobs, in your interviews and things related with your career, and as well how we can contribute to Meteor.js as explaining the source code, giving a few tips. Well, let's go then. So, first thing first, I'm Italo José, and I'm a core engineer from Meteor.js, but different from Nacho, that is a senior in Meteor.js. I've been working in Meteor.js into 7 months, something like this. Well, if you want to get in touch with me, please send me a DM on the Instagram, Twitter, on in my email. I'm super accessible. Just ping me and I will be there. And as well, I'm in the Meteor.js forum and in the Discord as well. Okay, let's discuss about why contribute. Well, when you are in an interview and the interviewer asks you, "Oh, what you did in the past experience?" So you explain a project and you talk many amazing things. And here you have two problems. If you really did an amazing thing, you can't prove because probably you was working a private company, so you can't show your code, your job. And well, if you and at the same time, few times it happens we haven't opportunity to work in something big. Few times we work in a small company when we starting our career, or we starting simple projects. Could be a big company, but in simple projects, and the project itself don't require complex and big things. So you haven't the opportunity to work on it. You just have the opportunity to study uh, the hype technologies and the new things the community is talking about. So I think the first point for contributing in the open source world is portfolio, because there you can show what you did in an interview or something like this, and at the same time you can solve real problems, problems of the real world. It includes, well, every size of problem, simple ones, but complex one, like Nacho explained it in the previous talks. Optimizing the bundler, well, it's a huge complex task, and if you haven't the opportunity to work in a bundler in your job, well, you can work in a bundler inside the open source project like Meteor.js. And well, for sure, networking is, I think, networking is I think we can create in many ways, and one way is open source, because while you work with open source, you must to converse, we must to have you must to get in touch with another contributors, you must discuss a few solutions, you must to prove your point in a few arguments that you have. So, and everything that is there is public, and at the same time everything there is your job, is how you work in the real world. And At the same time, you did your portfolio. You build a network because the people is knowing how you work. So if you are a person that is have a strong arguments, that you have a good code, that you do PRs with a few comments before to be merged in and released. Everything is wanted by the people who is integrated in that project. And for example, MeteorJS, we have many companies that depends of MeteorJS, and we have many companies that is contributing to MeteorJS, and they are looking for who are working there and how they working there. So and well, how we can start on open source world. I mean, I see many kinds of developers trying to entering in the open source projects, not only the Meteor.js, because I already contributed, for example, for node.js, or I had my own framework. That is already that, but I had my own framework a few years ago, and I see many developers that try to contribute in open source and got frustrated because they open a PR without an issue, and the PR just is closed because it's not attending the priorities, or not attending what is expected as a solution. Or sometimes they open a PR in something that isn't a problem, isn't an issue. And unfortunately, uh, in a few cases we should to close that PR, and the contributor got frustrated because they spend time on it. They try it, and probably they never won't try again. And but to avoid this problem, I have a few tips that can help you on it. So, for example, get the maximum of context you can inside Meteor, inside another projects. Before to start to contribute in coding, get context. Sit down and read the code, read the issues, read the discussions, read the maximum things you can. Then, it's optional, but you can find a mentor. A mentor is good because the mentor will guide you in the priorities and what is already being working on, what was the things the team, the core team tried in the past. And you can avoid this part, but know the priorities. It's a must. Know the priorities, because if you are working on a non-priority thing, probably your PR will be stuck a little bit, will take a time to be reviewed, and you don't want it. And start by docs and tests. In my opinion, it's my personal opinion. Start by docs, the framework, but if you already use the framework, because the test, you start to knowing the source code, how the things works behind the scenes, how it should to works. And if you see a few testing is missing, you must read the code, understand the source, and propose a more tests. And always tests and docs is valuable PRs. So independently of the priority, you will have an attention on it. Well, and why contribute to MeteorJS? We are a huge project. We have more than 44,000 of GitHub stars used in production by big companies. We have impact your code, your PR will impact thousands of applications and millions of users. So, in my opinion, it's a pretty fun thing. And it will enable to work across entry web development stack. So if you are front-end stack, I'm sorry, if you are a front-end, you can contribute on it. If you are a backend, a backend developer, you can work on it. If you work with JavaScript, you can. If you work with TypeScript, you can work on it. MongoDB, well, many things. We are a full stack framework, so we cover everything. Okay, so let's start with the fun part. Let's do a quick start, a checklist of what you must take care in the source code of the Meteor.js to start, well, to start to understand what's happening about the discussions, where to find the source code you are looking for. Well, let's go. The first thing, well, we need to understand five principal items: the documentations, tools, packages, tests, and debugging. So I will present all of them, uh, and at the same time, I will open the source code to navigate, so we can show in the source how the things works. So starting by the docs, because it's the simplest module we have. But we have a few tips here, and it's important because many developers do a mistake here. So first, we have the docs, but the docs folder is for three. I'm sorry, is for the version 2 of Meteor.js, and the v3 docs is for the latest version we have in production. And the mistake I see, many developers build their documentation inside the docs folder instead v3 docs. And oops, I'm sorry. And well, right here, let me do a zoom. So here we have the source code of MeteorJS, where I'm using the brand release 3.4. And here, right here, we have the docs. The docs is right there. Oh, look, the docs is here, but no, the docs, the right docs you should to post your content about Meteor 3 is right here, v3 docs, and at the same time we have two folders: the v3 migration docs, that is a specific project, and the docs itself. So everything you everything about the docs, about the latest version, you should put right here and not here. Well, this is the first thing. Um, oops. And the docs is accessed by v2docs.meteor.com. The docs is the latest, is the docs everybody knows here. So the docs.meteor.com, and the migration you can access by v3 migrations docs. Okay. Well, another thing that happens a few times is the people push the docs in V2. We don't see, unfortunately, a few times it go to production, and the people say, "Oh, I'm not seeing my docs in the reflected in the production." And well, everything because this problem. We have docs and V3 docs. Okay, now let's talk about the tools. The tools directory is everything about the Meteor CLI and the process of build the applications. Okay, so if you are contributing something related about the CLI or related about building the application, modifications, bundler, SWC, or AirSpec, everything will be right here. So if we take a look in the source of the code and come into tools, we have many folders, and well, I will explain them. So first, we have the CLI. So everything about Meteor, so about Meteor, when you press Meteor and press enter, well, you are calling this folder here. Okay, we have all our commands here. For example, test, oops, test packets. For example, we have self test in some place. Look, we have all the comments related about our CLI is right here. And this folder, the CLI module, uh, well, have connections with all the other modules. And right here, each module have a README. So this it's a thing that I don't see in many years in Node.js applications. The Node.js was built to be modular, and its folder should be a module. And well, but for some reason, the community don't work in this way, and I feel and they work like each folder as more in a way to organize your code than to build modules itself. So, but in MeteorJS, no, we are working in the Node.js standard that is each folder we have a module, and inside each folder we have a README that you can see the details about that module. But unfortunately, a few times we 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 have a few empty readmes. So feel free to fill them and push a PR if you want. Uh, but here we have, for example, the CLI. We have the console. The console here is a logger. Okay, so as I hope everybody knows that console log is a thread block. So because this, we have our own console that we use here, and at the same time to with a few features like waiting spinner and well a progress bar, all these things. Well, we have everything related about Cordova. For example, we have the runner, the builder, and when we start a Cordova application, for example, the runner is called by runners. Runners is a module to run itself, because a Meteor application, when we run the application, we not call the main.js. Well, we we execute the application, we execute the hot module reload, we execute the Mongo, we execute the proxy to handle everything. Well, if you are testing, we execute the Selenium. So, and we run the updater because you already saw when you type meteor run, and we are using, for example, the tool we have locally is, in my case, I'm using here 3.3.2. But if I run an application that is using 3.3.3, it will download the tool, you know? So we have the updater to work on it. Well, we have, for example, let me see the runners. Oh, the hot module reload, for example, is a class that is listening for the files, and if it's changed, we build everything again. And let me see where's. Okay, well, never mind. And to handle all these files, we have the fs module. And here, we use the fs from Node, but here, at the same time, we have a few logic to handle these files. And everything about the files will be right here. The files handling, the watcher. For example, the watcher that Nacho was talking about was right here. Okay. Well, we have the ISO build. The ISO build is exactly what Nacho was talking about. The bundler, the builder, the compiler. So everything related about transform your Meteor application in a usable application by the browser is right here. So if you want to work in a few optimization for MeteorJS itself, in terms of build hot module reload or everything else, you will tote this module. Okay. Well, we have a few services. For example, to authenticate in the Galaxy or something like this. We have a few services here. Okay. We have, well, yeah. I will jump the tests because I will have exclusive space for the tests. But we have the packaging, for example, to create a source map for the package, to handle the package versions. Well, the run, as I said, the static files. What is the static files? Static files is everything we already have pre-built in the Meteor tool. So skeletons, for example, skeletons is a pre-built application for Apollo, Babel, Blaze, and everything is here. So if you want add something new in the skeleton in the startup application that you when you type Meteor create is right here. You will change it. Okay. Well, we have the tests that I will jump, and we have a two envs. So two envs is something related about the environment. So for example, the Babel, Hey-Fi, the profile required. Okay, so everything related about your environment will be right here. For example, the profile is a tool that will read your application and read the CPU and memory. So it's about your environment, your machine. So it's right here. It's a tool, and at the same time, it's about your environment and it's a tool. So it's right here. Well, we have the tool testing. That way we'll avoid it, and we have a few utils. Okay, what else? What else we have inside Meteor? We have the packets. The packets probably will be where you will work, where you will spend most of your time. When we do Meteor add, we are talking about these guys. So the packets. The packets uh, is basically where all the features, the Meteor features is. We have, for example, accounts. Accounts base is right here. Accounts Facebook, accounts GitHub. We have what else? The email, the famous the minification. For example, when you run for production, or I don't remember if you run for production, but it's run for it's run for production. Well, you can minify your applications. The package is right here. We have the mini Mongo that you run in your client. We have the Mongo itself when you are working with the collections. And where's the DDP? I want to show. Oh, and we have the core of the reactivity system, the DDP. So your server is right here. So the Meteor functions plus the package that you can use as a feature inside the Meteor is everything inside the packets. Okay, and they have a specific format. So it's not a Node.js packet where you have a package JSON. We have a package JS. It's a little bit different, but similar. Right here, we have a global object called package, where where we can describe our package. We can specify from what is the dependencies we have in terms of in terms of npm packets. We have a few, what's the name? A few gateways here. Okay, so we will use the check, the random, Mongo ID, but only the server. Okay, and we have another packets. For example, the DDP server use DDP command, DDP rate limiter, DDP client, and many other things. At the same time, we can bring things, but we can export things. So this packet exporter export to the DDP server only for the client. Oh, I'm sorry, not the client, only for the server. Okay, and we can attach. Well, we have many options here to configure our packet, and all of them work in this way. We have a packet. I haven't an example here, but we have a few plugins options. We have well, if a few packets we publish in the npm, not all them, but a few packets we publish in the npm, and so you will see a npm package in a few packets that you will see in this folder. um, and basically, if you want to debug, for example, the reactivity system, this will be the place where you will work on. Okay. The same for the tests. All the tests, we haven't a folder for package tests. Every test will be inside the package itself. Okay. But we will talk about it later. And well, this is the package. So everything you will work about features will be right there. And now, finally, the testing in Meteor. Okay, this is, well, for me, in my opinion, it's a little bit confused for who are starting contribute in the Meteor.js, because we have many kinds of tests. For example, we have inside the tools, we have a folder for tests, but those tests is only for the CLI. It's only related about the CLI. The test itself is inside the packets, as I told you, as I showed you. But at the same time, we have a few packets that is just for testing. So, oh my God, we have testing the tools, tests inside the packets, and we have a few packets for testing. So, how it works? Okay, let's go. The first thing is the tools. So right here, we have modern tests. Um, this is a few tests for front end, for client, and for more other things. But what I want to show you is right here, tests. So here we have a few applications. We have when you type, for example, Meteor self tests. The self-test is to test the CLI itself and the things related about create a project, a project that will work, test the commands we have in the CLI. So here, you won't test your packets and you won't test the Meteor itself. And many users run Meteor self-test. I did it in the past. You run Meteor self-test, and it passed. It passed. Your chain didn't broke any functionality of MeteorJS. But when you push your PR, you have. Let me see if I have an example here. Let's open the GitHub pull request. So let's open. I got a random, and it's from Storyteller. But many developers, including me, execute the self-test and see this guy passing, build and test green. Oh my God, thanks God. But after a few hours, the Travis CI be red, and you say, oh my God, how I will test it locally? So it's because this self-tests don't test everything. What we should to use? We should to use the Meteor test package. Test packages. Okay. Let me see if yes, test package. Look, Meteor test package is the guy you are looking for, because test package will execute Let me see if it's running here. Let me um, remove my Mongo warehouse and press enter. So this one will test all the packets and functionalities from MeteorJS, accounts, DDP, the reactivity system, methods, everything. Well, it's installing. Probably I was in the wrong version, but you must run this guy, and it won't run in headless way. It will. You must open the Chrome and see the tests happening there, because well, while it's installing, I will talk about another kind of tests. That is this guy here. So packets, packets tests. Where is it? Right here. So um, oh, good. App running at localhost 3000. Let's open it. When we open it, it starts. La, la, la. Look, it starts to execute the tests, and the test is running for server and for client, but isn't loaded here because after the execute the server, it start to work in the client. And right here is the place where you can, for example, debug your client tests. But I will talk about debugging soon. So, and if you don't open this URL, you won't see the tests passing. The tests won't be executed. So I remember when I started to contribute in the Meteor.js, I was right here and I executed the test packet, but I took a long time waiting the test to start. But no, the test is running at localhost 3000. You must open it there. Well, how can I test in a headless way? For it, we have many packets for testing. For example, test in the browser, test in the console. In the console, for example, we have the Puppeteer runner, where we put an application inside Puppeteer and start to test it. And as I said to you, not all the packets and modules have a README. So, well, feel free to push a contribution there. And for example, all this, for example, the Travis CI, exactly this one, oops, exactly this test execute this command. Oops, 1 second. Execute the packets test in console and execute the run shell. So if you want to execute the package test everything, but use the same setup as the CI, you should use the package test in console. So when we run it, oops, let me see. I must use this terminal because I'm inside Meteor. Okay, so well, it will take a time to start to the tests, but you don't here you don't need to open a Chrome and nothing else. You just start the test itself. And while it starts, let's talk about our test runner. That is a few tests we use Mocha, but here the most of the package tests we use Tiny Test. Tiny Test is a test runner that was built a long time ago. Look, 80 years ago, because in the past we haven't like this super modern test runners like Jest, Mocha, or any other library. We must have to build our own test runner. So here we set up the publish. We set up the methods. So everything, all that application you saw, where is it? Oh, I closed it. Everything you saw in that list of packets being tested in the localhost 3000 come from Tiny Test. So if you want to do a few front-end modification, better visualization, better logger, you will work right here. Okay. Well, look, all the tests is being tested here. We got an error, but probably it's because I have some wrong setup in my machine. But for sure, it will works in your machine. Just trust, just trust. Well, about the tests, you are at, wait, okay. Now you know what you where what and where and how you should test the package and the meter as a framework. Not only the CLI, but the whole framework. But a few times when we are testing, we need to debug, and to debug is another thing that I feel a little pains in the past because the meteor, when you run the meteor, we have our own node.js binary there. So I don't know if you already had the chance to explore an application, but and saw the dev bundle folder. Basically, the dev bundle folder we have our own Node.js, as you can see, our own npm, npx, our own tpt. Um, we have our own MongoDB binary. For sure, you have options to bypass it. But because this, the VS Code, for example, uh, get a little bit confused to test the meter itself. For example, a few days ago, where is it? A few days ago, I was in the Discord and a user just said, "Oh, how can I test using VS Code? How can I where is it? How can I put my breaking points debugging?" And it's a thing that you will want when you are contributing on MeteorJS and contribute and use doing a few tasks. Well, for sure, this guy was talking about their application. I guess, but it is the same issue you will have for the meter source. So, for example, if I uh, running, let me see, let me get a client test, and no, not a client test. Let's execute a DDP test. DDP having tests, DDP common, DDP server test right here. So, for example, if I want to put a breakpoint here and execute my meter, so um, 1 second. My meter test packets, um, and I execute it. Oops, I need to post tiny filter. Oh, it's another thing for testing. Tiny filter is a filter that you can pass for your tests to filter exactly the test you want to test. So the test you want to test, many test boards. So for example, I want to test the live data crossbar. Use tiny filter for it. Okay, and I like to avoid the deprecations message as well. We specify the test package, and okay, you can specify inspect. If I remember, it won't get the debugger server here and won't attach your breakpoint here. So, and how we can handle it? Well, it's taking a time, but another thing is um, just 1 second. Okay. Oh, the Mongo. is running. So 1 second. Brew services queue MongoDB community. It's not started. So queue port 331. Okay, I think I killed the MongoDB. So let's run it again. So it won't stop it here. Another scenario you will need the breakpoints is when you have your application. Look, you have your application. I'm in a simple application. You have the client, imports, and the servers. And you want to put a few breakpoint right here, for example, but when you enter in the source code, let me show you my Meteor inspect. Oops, oh, the Meteor, yes, it's running another. Well, unfortunately, I'm having an issue with my MongoDB. I'm sorry for that, but well, it won't impact the debugging demo. Let me close it and let's continue here. So, and another scenario is when we start our application, because we are doing a new package and we are doing, or we want to explore an issue that we are experimenting in our project, and we must open an issue with a reproducible uh, repository, or we want to investigate the right the root of the problem, and we can't debug our application, but we can't debug the source of the meteor. Look, oh my god, can't kill. Okay, I will specify another port. Let me see if the Mongo will let us to show this demo. Well, unfortunately, things like this works in live demo. But well, to do it, to debug our application and debug the Meteor source, what we should do? Um, the first thing we can do, it's starting a time to start the application, but the first thing we can do is come in the Chrome, inspect, and start our dev tools right here. That is listening to the port 92 to 9. It's an important thing to have in mind. So when we inspect it, look, we have our application. And here you will be able to debug and stop your breakpoints. Okay, so for example, if I come here and 88, look, the breakpoint stopped right here in the return collections. But if I try to enter inside this code, look, I have a few methods inside the Meteor source. But if I want to put a breakpoint inside Meteor source, for example, here I have just the packets I'm using. But if I want to put a breakpoint in a few tools or script that isn't being used as a packet, I won't be able. Another issue is if I want to debug my client, look, I just have my server, but where's my client? So to debug your client, you should to open the dev tools inside your client. So right here, we have the packets related to the client. Okay, related to the client. We haven't all the packages here. And we have the client, but not the server. Okay, it's an important thing to have in mind. But if you want, okay, no, I want to debug the source code using the server and the client. How can I do it? My my server and my client, not the source and the client. No, sorry, the server and the client. Where the server and the client is at the same time in the VS and your EDA. Well, I will show you how to do it in the VS Code because I use VS Code, but if you have Vim or if you have any other EDA, just configure your the EDA in the same way. But here, look, I'm inside the Meteor. I must go to the application. How we can debug the client and the server at the same time? Well, basically you can create a launch, okay? And here, right here, um, you must specify this configuration. So you will run your Meteor, okay? Well, it can be Meteor if you are debugging your application, but if you are debugging the the source code, you must specify your Meteor local binary, okay? So we will run and specify the inspect to run in the port 92 to 9. We will specify for the VS Code the debugger server is running the port 92 to 9. We will open the integrated terminal, okay? We will do the source maps to we will enable the source maps to enable you to debug and put the breakpoints and follow the code, okay? And we will remove a few files. So for example, the building and a few packets, okay? And the node modules, for example. And then we will go to the run and debugger and we will launch this configuration. And it's different from the default that VS Code brings us. It's different. So because this, you must copy and paste this configuration that we can find it right here in the forum. VS Code launch, blah, blah, blah. Oh, you can find it right here, okay? Well, so let's show you it's working. Let me close my application. Let's launch the server and let's put a breakpoint right here in the VS Code. So VS Code and server key. No, Mongo is crashing for some reason. But let's go into the launch JSON, and here we will put another env that is port equal 88. Oops, let's do a play and let's do our breakpoint appearing here. Look, our breakpoint right here. But if we put a breakpoint into our code, for example, Mongo connection, find. Look, if I put a breakpoint right here, and look, I'm in different VS codes, it won't stop here. Look, let's open my application. Let's refresh it. Let's pass. And look, link collection, find. I have a breakpoint right here, but I have a breakpoint. Where's the Meteor source code? And I have a breakpoint in the Meteor source code, but it won't stop here. And why? Why? I'm using the Meteor, the binary Meteor here. Why it's not stopping there? How can I debug my packets and my Meteor functionality? Well, to do it, you must come here and oops, let me see, debugger, toggle breakpoint, and attach the node process. Um, If I'm not wrong, it's attached to node. No, it's not attached to node process. It's attached to debugger. So go auto toucher, blah blah blah. Start debugging. Uh, okay, debug attach. Well, let me see. Pick the node process. Oh, right here we have. Um, where's the? I'm sorry because I have. Oh, here. I'm sorry. It's in the launch. Where's the launch? VS Code. Oh, here. I'm sorry. So what do you must do? We have two VS codes. We are debugging our application, and we want to debug to having our breakpoints being stopped in your Meteor source code. How we can do it? We must to get the VS Code IDE and attach to the debugger server. And how we can do it? Specifying our configuration. So we have a node debugger. The request will be a thought, not allowed. For example, let me see if we have in another launch page what we have here. The request is launched, so it's different. It's different debug trigger. The your application, you will have a debugger of the type launch, and for the Meteor source code, you will have a debugger with the type attach, okay? And you will attach the local host 9229. It's nice because you can enable it. Well, don't do it, but you can enable it in production. You can enable a port, a debugger server in your production, and you can attach your VS Code right there, just specifying your address. So, specifying your IP and the specify your port in the 9229, and if it's enabled in the server, you will be able to debug your production application. So here when we do it, well, I have more 10 minutes, but I already finishing. When we are taught and we came here in our application, um, let's and we bypass, we do a continue on this breaking, in this breaking point. Look, the breaking point inside meter code appears. So and then you can debug your application, debug the source code, debug your bug you are having, you know. And well, this is the ways you can debug your application using Chrome Spect and VS Code. Well, and to finish here, um, to find what to do in MeteorJS, take a look in the issues, uh, read a lot of the discussions first, explain your solution before push a PR. Take a look in the old issues. We have many old issues that is ready for be implemented. You know, we have many abandoned issues that was starting being solved, but well, for some reason the people just give up. Be committed when you say you will work in a few issues, because many users say, "Oh, let this issue with me, I will work," and they never push a PR. Don't do it, please. Ask for help. So it's a community, it's open source. Help is a mandatory thing. So always take the issue you want to work on, start to work on, and ask for help. Oh, I'm have few difficulties. How can I do it? How can I that? Where can I find this? My have a suspect, and I want to explore. How can I do it? I have a hypothesis. So please ask for help and just do it. Um, After your issue being well discussed, you will push your PR. Please do a well documented PR, because we have many PRs to review. It will speed up your review, and the discussions we will have there about your, well, discussions, questions, it will speed up everything. um, don't open PR without an issue. The probability to for this PR be closed will be, well, will be high. um, and well, we don't review until your CIB green. So push a PR, wait it be green, then put a request of a review from me, from Nacho, from Jam, from someone of the core. And well, always open a PR for Devel. Devel is our main. Okay, so everything that is in production is in Devel. So when you will get a brand to to start to work on, start from Devel and push to Devel. Okay, and well, and again, just to finalize, I have more 5 minutes. Contribution isn't only for your project. I'm sorry, it's only for the project itself. Is you are contributing not only for the Meteor.js, for example, you are contributing for you, because you are creating portfolio, you are creating network, you are showing how you work in the real world problems. So your career changed in the real world problems, and in the real world that they happen things. It's important to study real time and be a guru of the real time, without to work it with real time. It's pretty easy, but um, study real time and work in real time projects like Meteor.js, for example, well, it's totally different. And thank you very much. I hope this meeting not. I hope this talk help you to understand a little bit the source and how contribute to testing, debugging. And I'm open for questions and open for DMs if you want to do any question in privately chat for some reason. That's it.
Okay, thank you very much, Italo. We have was is it a question from Paulo Golon? So feel free to, or
Hey, let me
anybody
see. Let
else
me
as
see.
well. If there are any questions, feel free to type
Paulo.
them or unmute yourself and chat.
Well, I'm not finding it. I'm sorry.
No, no,
View.
no. It was he. I think he raised his hand. So okay, so he raised his hand instead of sending a
Ah,
reaction.
okay. Nice, amazing.
Yeah. Another thing I think that I kind of want to add to this, if your PR or issue looks like a AI generated thing, then that's I think every say week or month, or especially the more we get of those, the faster we will be kind of in dismissing those. So make sure that you don't sound like a robot.
That's true. That's true. And recently we had many PRs like that. I'm not sure if
Uh,
it's bots of people that is, well, just trying to have a name in the comments. But yeah, the what Jen said is totally true.
I think we've got some in the past few days that looked very much AI. Oh, and one big thing that also gets me, that there is just like this group, specific group of people who, come and, can you please assign me this issue? Uh, that's most open source projects don't do that, and if anything, that's reserved for the core contributors. And within Meteor, we do not assign issues to random people, because I think in every case this happens. Somebody asks for assignment. Maybe there's like one exception, we never, anyway, we did assign them. We never ever heard from them again. So uh, that's that.